Overload, overload, it's so cute, overload, don't you want to take us home? Cute, 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 overload, 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 it's so cute, overload, don't you want to take us home? Cute, 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 overload.
Hi, we are B&A, and we're going to talk about some tips on how to get the Tsum Tsum Mystery Pack Series 3 characters that you'd like. So here's a package of one we've already opened, and to kind of show you on the back of who you can get. Now, some of our basic tips for this is that when you're trying to find a certain figure, you don't want to feel a Tsum Tsum themselves. So generally they're all pretty much the same size and feel the same since they're all kind of laying on their belly. So a good method is to not feel them, but to feel the accessory that they come with. So this series actually I think is a little bit easier than Series 1 or Series 2. They have some really distinct shapes that are pretty easy to tell what you're getting. So for instance, the genie here, he's got one big piece and it's really bumpy and kind of funky shaped. And it's really the only thing that's even similar to that. When you look at Patch, you can see that it's kind of rounded and flat and smooth. That's the only thing that's similar to that. And then Woody here, he's got a star shape, and he's the only figure that's shaped anything like that. So those are some tips on how to kind of feel the packages you want. So we picked up some more at the store, and we're hoping to get the ones we need. So let's get started. So I'm going to start feeling the back here. This is a pretty easy one to start with. I can feel a star shape, and I can kind of feel some circles on the top. So right away, we pretty much know that we've got Woody here. And there's Woody. So we've only got one piece for the accessory, and it's a star shape, like I said, so that's quite easy to tell that that's who we got. And our next one, let's start feeling it. One thing I forgot to mention too is you kind of want to separate out the pieces that you feel in there so you can see how much you have. That kind of helps as well. So this feels like there's actually quite a bit in here. I can feel the Tsum Tsum down here, and I feel kind of a square shaped with one side that you can stick your finger in. And then I feel some other little small pieces in here. Actually feels like there's like 3 or 4 maybe other little pieces in here. So based on the shape of the accessory, and it's a square with kind of one side missing, I guess we've got Tinkerbell here. And we did get Tinkerbell. So this is a good example of separating out what you feel. This has got the main piece, which is the square, you know, you can kind of stick your finger into. And then we've got 4 other pieces. So this one requires quite a bit of assembly. So that's kind of their trick to make it a little bit harder to see what you're getting. Here's another one. Start feeling this. Now this one, I feel the Tsum Tsum up here. And I feel another little almost kind of square feeling piece, and I feel 2 pieces that are rounded. So I'm gonna guess this probably needs assembly since there's 2 round pieces, and it kind of feels like a half circle going together is kind of my guess. So sometimes when you have a round piece, they could be an indication that it's something with an arch base like this, but I don't think that's the case here because there's 2 of them. So by eliminating, I am going to guess that we probably have Alice here. She's got that circle base, and I'm assuming it probably comes in the 2 pieces, and that's what we're feeling. And we did get Alice. So there's kind of a tricky one again, how it's a circle piece, but it's in 2 pieces. So that's another kind of tricky thing sometimes to feel. And then, you know, the other little piece, it's kind of squared shaped with a little bit round at the bottom. Here's another. Start feeling this one. Now this one, a little bit hard to tell its shape, but it's got a hole in the center. So that's a pretty good giveaway right there. So if we want to look at the package and see which one has a hole in the center, we know Woody does, but he's a star shape, and this is definitely not a star. And then Donald and Pluto are also our options there. Now, aside from that piece that I can tell there's a hole in the center, I feel the Tsum Tsum, and I feel another piece that's kind of odd shaped. It actually feels just like this red piece on Pluto's house. So if we narrowed it down to the two, since I feel this other piece that needs to be added on, I'm pretty safe to guess that we have got Pluto here. And there's Pluto. So we've got the Tsum Tsum and his little house that he can fit into, and then the roof. So that roof was really the giveaway here to determine between Donald and Pluto. And then here is our last pack of Series 3 that we were able to find. Let's start feeling this. So I'm going to separate this out here. I feel a Tsum Tsum here. And then I feel another kind of squared little piece, and then a main big piece. And the big piece is kind of a rectangle, if you can tell. It's kind of from here to here. So it's good size. So this is a bit of a tricky one. So we're going to kind of eliminate what it definitely would not be. So it's square and short, so definitely not any of these. Definitely not Patch or Donald. There's no hole in the center. There's no rounded base. It's not a star. It's not this bumpy, odd piece that Genie's on. And it's not big enough to be Tinkerbell's thing with a hole. So we have got to have Dopey. And there we go. So there's the kind of little, this feels like a square, but it looks like a little diamondy kind of object that goes on top. And then here's the main piece. So the rectangle, and it looks like he's got some little bumpy jewel spots on top of there. Here is our collection of the Series 3 along with the new ones that we just opened. So a couple quick thoughts on these. When you look at Tinkerbell's little lantern house, this is quite difficult to put together, and it actually is opposite the picture. So when you look at the picture here, it shows that the little yellow wraparound should be to the left, and it actually is on the right. So that was one thing that I wanted to point out. And then the other is on Bambi here. Not that it's a big deal or anything, but in the picture it shows his base is blue with yellow flowers, and it's actually yellow with just the one pink. So again, not any big deal, but on here it shows it to be blue. But just so people kind of realize that is not quite as pictured. If you have any questions for us, please let us know. I hope these tips were helpful, and thanks for watching.